ladies and gentlemen, politics affects us. Laws affect us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we need to be very careful about who we put in government. And we got to get smarter about it. And that is the purpose of the show. I'm your host, Angela Taylor, and I'm here with my favorite millennial, Eminem, Michaela McCray. I call her Eminem because she does not sweat under the pressure. And engineer, if you can turn the camera to Tanya Sweat, because I'm gonna tell you, every time I come in front of the mic, Prince George's County, Maryland needs an honest broker at the head of its government. And Tanya Sweat is that broker. So again, get your yellow sticky, or if you don't have a sticky, get some tape and a file card. Write her name, stick it on your refrigerator. And again, because I've been saying it so long, if your refrigerator's crowded with her name, put it on the bathroom mirror. If you got one on your bathroom mirror, put it on your bedroom mirror. But put it all through your house and let everybody know this is somebody who is an honest broker, who does have the community interest at heart, who's going to do the best for us. So that being said, we have a guest in studio today, and I'm going to introduce him shortly because we have a couple of public service announcements tonight. Okay. For those of you who know folks, because our scholarship deadline is coming up, it's next week as a matter of fact, who are interested in receiving $5,000 scholarships, we give away 2 every year and will be doing so until the year 2030. For if you know a graduating senior who is looking for a career to help the disabled or the mentally challenged, please, please, please drop an email to feger2023@gmail.com. And that's F, family, E, education, G, government, E, economics, R, religion, FEGER @gmail.com. Let them come get some of that money. All right, and also, I need my piece of paper because I'm old. I need to refer to my notes. Okay, the Department of Service and Civic Innovation has a couple of programs out there too to help folks who are, I always have a brain fart on that. Service year option, there you go. Okay, and the Maryland Corps. Now, the service year option is for the folks who were in school and graduated through the COVID period and really don't really have a direction. And also, the Maryland Corps is for folks who have come out of high school or, you know, senior citizens, anybody who feels like they got a little more gas in the tank and contribute to the state. Just drop the word Maryland, text it to 21000 and get active in your community. Now, in studio with us today is a gentleman who is running for the United States Senate. And I especially wanted Michaela McCray here today because that is one of her aspirations. She wants to be a United States Senator. That's my favorite millennial, as I will continue to say, espouse, excuse me. But anyway, be that as it may, you're running for the seat being vacated by Ben Cardin. And if you would, because I know you can tell folks about you a lot better than I can, and then we're going to move into some questions. Give us a 90-second infomercial.
Oh, all right. Hello, everybody. My name is Marcellus Cruz, and I am running for the U.S. Senate. I'm a businessman. I'm a man of faith. I'm a husband. But most of all, I'm someone who's been on the front lines. My company has been in over 6,000 homes here in Maryland doing technology innovation. We're in small businesses from construction to healthcare. We're a state vendor. We're also in embassies. And most of all, what I'm most excited about, we've been in schools. So I've been on the front lines, and I've seen it for myself, what we need to do and how we need to do it. So with that, that's who I am. Marcellus Cruz, running for the U.S. Senate.
So you're turning the mic back over to us, right?
Well, hey, now I can go. As you know, I can go, but I'm trying to.
Okay, because I did. I have a personal question. Mm-hmm. Okay, as a candidate on the Democratic ticket.
Yes.
All right. What do you think? Because I think a big part of our problem, and this is nationwide, is the Democratic national folks do not do enough to educate the electorate. What do you see the DNCC's job as?
I'm trying not to get in trouble here.
Okay, no, I mean, if you want to vote, you better be honest.
Right.
We got some folks who are looking for some integrity in our government.
I think that they can be a little bit more active. I believe that they should do a better job in looking at the talent that's really out here. So with that being said, I know it's a tough job, and I know, some of them are trying to do the best that they can. But I think that right now, and the reason why I'm running is because it's time. It's time for change. It's time for a new set of crop of leaders with a different mindset. Notice I said I'm a technology innovation guy. I'm not a lawyer. I
don't want to be rude, but I need you to answer my question. My question is, and I'm asking you because there ain't no right or wrong answer to this.
All right.
When I ask you what you think,
the
DNCC has historically, even under Perez and now under Jamie Harrison, has not done anything to make the electorate smarter. But every time, I'm always opening the text or email asking for money.
Okay, and I agree with that. Okay, I agree with. I do believe that it's time for them to educate the public on what's happening in Congress, what's happening on the front lines. I agree with you. They should do a much better job. I don't know if they're taking their cues from the president or whomever, but they do need to do a better job. So that is my opinion, yes, because I'm out here educating people on what's the most important things are. I think that they should have that forward-leaning observation and break it down to people.
Because people don't even know the 101 stuff, how government works.
Exactly.
And I have written several times to Perez, several times to Jamie Harrison, and I've had 5 of my friends have 5 of their friends, and 5 of their friends do the same thing. And all I get back is, give me some money.
Yes. And I see a lot of that. Give me some money, but not breaking down things. I don't understand why we don't educate the public. I mean, I go around and I say I'm running for U.S. Senate, and half people don't even know what that even means. Yeah. What does it mean to be a U.S. Senator, but, hey, give me some money? What does it mean to fight for us, but, hey, give me some money? There's a lot of slogans that are being said right now, and then it's followed with, give me money to fight for you. But what does that mean? What's the vision? I would agree, it is time for a vision. Not just slogans and give me money.
Okay. So what's your vision, Mr. Cruz?
All right, let's go. Let's get it. All right, my vision is complex. I used to say simple, but it's very complex because I want to change this world that we're living in. And so let me break that down. When people say better education, better economy, I feel like they don't get to the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter is, how do you make our economy better, and how do you make education better for our young people and adults? Well, I'm going to tell you what I see. You take the STEM program, you take trade and IT, and you make that the new curriculum across America. You then bring in financial literacy, and you do life skills. That becomes the standard, K through 12. Then you allow 6th graders who are in junior high to start getting certified, okay? And they start doing apprenticeships with small businesses. My point here is education, what's the point of it? The point of it should be to prepare us for where we're going, but that's not what we've been doing. And so a lot of these young people, they graduate out of high school and then they're asked, what do you want to be? That's way too late. That's why we have a lot of dropouts. My thing as a business owner, I need workers today. I need workers to understand what they're doing and have the experience. So I want a whole sea change in our curriculum. When you do that, by the time that young person is in high school, they're working in that field, and they're getting more certifications. By the time they graduate, look at this world. They have experience, they've been working in the fields that they like, and they have certifications and not just a diploma. Now businesses see the talent in our grade schools. I'm bringing business to education. Now they see what's going on. That's a different world.
That's good stuff.
That's a different economy.
Okay, I'm getting a couple of questions from my feed. This question is from Jocelyn Duncan. She says, wait a minute. Gotta bring you a little closer. What other type of government experience have you been involved in that makes you qualified to run for this office? Because this is a gem.
I love that question. Qualified. The Constitution says I have to be a certain age. And I have to be a U.S. citizen, and I have to come from the state I'm representing. That's the qualification, folks. People need to understand that our government was never meant to be, a professional thing where you start here, then you go there. No, the framers want it to be when the nation is dealt with a serious issue, people from those sectors can run with the expertise. Name me anybody in this race that has a technology background. Now, what are we dealing with in this nation? A technology economy.
Okay.
Go ahead, Michaela.
Yeah, let's go at it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party. Welcome to the
Come on, let's get it. I came to stir things up.
And I got the pot and the bowl.
Let's get it.
Okay, so first, when we're talking about what pretty much our forefathers deemed was necessary for you to be able to run in political parties, if we look historically at what that meant, the way in which we have been governing the country for over the last few centuries, they didn't have that as an idea. And back then, it was only a certain type of person that was even eligible to run. But what we're dealing with now is that the stakes are higher. Okay, and over in the last 3 centuries, we've added a lot more to the level of governance. You know, back then, we weren't talking about gun control, we weren't talking about education, and from just pretty much listening to what you're talking about. So I'm studying higher education right now, and I am able to see the trends and all of the shifting that we're doing in the education system and how it's affecting our next generation. Honestly, employing 6th graders with apprenticeship when they don't have the foundational knowledge of what is necessary to even govern their articulation of what is necessary, I'm not sure that is realistic. I mean, I think it's truly admirable, but I think we're putting too much stock in our youth and giving them more of the responsibility of fixing problems that have been passed down to them. You know, when we're talking about how our education system really is, there are bigger issues than STEM and technology, because STEM and technology is for a small force, right? It's not going to be the whole thing that propels our economic system out of where we are today. So
Okay, as a technology innovation guy and as someone who's been in schools, I totally disagree. Let's start here. 6th graders are 11 years old. That's how old they are. I remember when I was in 6th grade. A lot of them know what they want to do. As parents, a lot of us need to get out the way. These young people grow up on these phones. This is a new era. This is no longer the industrial era. This is the data technology AI era. They grow up on cell phones. They can work it better than you and I. All right? We put them in school, and then we say, let's go back to 1962 learning. Now, why do I say STEM and IT and trade? Because if you've noticed the trends, you said trends. Maryland, out of a dozen states, have lowered what the requirements for jobs. Certifications are now becoming the new thing.
Maryland has taken a lot out of schools.
Yes.
For just everyday functions.
Yes.
There are 3 things that you will always use in this life, and that's math, English, and government. They've taken civics and government out of school. I personally believe it's by design. I just want to interject that. So continue.
Okay. With that being said, I'm not talking about something that I think about. I've been doing it. Cruising Technologies have been doing apprenticeships. We have been dealing with sixth graders. And these young people are hungry to learn. When you stimulate a mind, they stay out of the street. Crime comes down. When you stimulate a mind and you get them focused and they can see their trajectory in a way that they can now see how they will make money, they stay in school and they learn better. They read better. They do math better. And so my point here is I've spoken to a lot of educators. I've spoken to the Board of Education, different members, and most teachers agree that it is time. Why? Because they're the ones on the front line. It is time that we change this curriculum and we allow these young people to decide for themselves. We've been deciding for a long time for them, and they're hungry for change.
Okay.
I don't know that we've been deciding for our children. I have a sixth grader in my house.
Okay, let's get it. Let's
I
get
have a 22-year-old that I've raised. So what I know from being a mother and watching my children grow up is they evolve over time, just like we do
Right.
as adults. I remember my son changed what I want to be when I grow up about 5 times before he got to college. And my daughter's on that same track. She's
Yeah.
gone from I want to be a teacher to I want to be an actor to I want to be a social influencer. Now she's into being a cook, a chef.
I love it.
Ain't none of that got nothing to do with science and technology. So what you gonna do with my daughter?
Okay, so here we go. I said trade and technology. Trade covers a lot of what you just talked about.
Trade covers a lot,
Okay.
but again, you can't push these kids in a box.
And
I
Oh,
said
wait a
you
minute, time out.
expose them to as much
Okay.
as we
I
can.
never
One
said
at a
push
time.
them in.
Allow them to determine where their gifts and their talents are and where they can have an impactful and significant contribution to the world. It may not be science and technology. It may not be trade. Because if we put them all in trade, we already got a teacher shortage. Who gonna teach these babies?
Okay, I've
Well-
got one more thing before you
Okay.
ask the question. I just need to make this comment that another listener is saying her daughter went, became certified. However, she was closed out of positions because of the way she looked. She wears braids.
There you go. And that's why I said apprenticeships, bringing businesses to education. Let's go back here. I never said we're pushing young people in and saying you have to go into hair, you have to go into makeup, or you have to go into plumbing. I never said that. I said we're now allowing them. I just came from a school. I asked every student, what do you want to be? And here's the beautiful part. They can change. Nobody has to stay in one lane. The point of apprenticeships is so that they see now what they are saying that they want to be. I had a young lady who says, I want to be a veterinarian. Okay? She went and saw for herself what a veterinarian does. Not in school. She actually went out
Oh, yeah.
and she saw it for herself. And it highlighted to her what she would have to do and does she really like it. Now at that moment she can decide, hey, I want to go in a different direction, or I want to go in this direction, or I want to just be administrator. I just want to help the animals. I don't want to actually physically touch the animals. But the point here is this changes the game for our educational system.
Okay, Michaela
Yes.
has a
So
question. for you.
I have a clarifying question. So I think at the beginning, I think what I received where you were pushing on the STEM and technology as when you say curriculum, that's a big word when it comes to education, because that totally changes the trajectory in which how we teach students, how we test students, and how we ultimately push students in a certain direction. But then I hear you talking about the apprenticeship. So is it apprenticeship when it comes to just STEM and technology, or are you seeing apprenticeship for the entirety of how we teach our students? Because being a veterinarian has nothing to do with STEM or technology. It has everything to do with going and getting qualified and teaching and even doing a post secondary type of school. And before you answer, I think where I am with it is when you say giving children, because they're children, the option to pretty much direct their lives, then what is the purpose of the teachers of the parents and of the community if we're giving all of the children all of the power to do what they think is necessary. Now, opening up opportunities and things for them, absolutely, that is beautiful. But changing a curriculum to pretty much, I guess, indoctrinate students into a theology that is conducive for, because it all sounds like what the necessary is how are we seeing the economy changing in the next few years, and how do we gear our students to be better equipped to propel the direction in which we want our economy to go. Because I'm not sure that when you look at this next generation of kids and you look at the qualities that they have, I'm not even sure technology is the best thing for them.
Right.
Well, let me first start with technology, and then I'm gonna move from there. Whether we like it or not, technology is here to stay, and it's going to get even worse. AI is getting ramped up as we speak. With that being said, I started by saying trade. Trade is much bigger than what we all are seeing right here. Certifications are much bigger than what we all seeing. That is where our economy is headed. That is specialized professionals. That is where our economy is headed. Whether we like it or not, it's Marcellus Cruz is not here to say this is what I want. This is what's happening. Specialized economies. And when I say when you say indoctrinated, I'm not trying to indoctrinate anyone. I'm trying to allow young people to have access, to be able to say it loud and proud, hey, I think I want to be a fireman. I've heard them say that. Well, let's go see what that is. Oh, you know what, Mom, I don't want to be a fireman anymore. It begins to allow them to think and to see through these things much better, quicker,
But
faster.
that's what education is, Mr. Cruz. It's not a focus on one particular area of the curriculum. The curriculum is supposed to be broad and
Yes.
vast,
Yes.
so that our children get exposed to a little bit of everything.
Yes.
We teach them how to read and how to
Yes.
write.
Yes.
So that opens the door for you to go now and do your own research and learn for yourself where you fit in. We teach them arithmetic, as we used to call it. We teach them about the sciences, because those are the basic foundational blocks of understanding, no matter what you do, no matter where you go.
Correct.
So words have meaning. So
Yes.
be careful about the words you choose and how you describe your platform, because it may give the wrong impression. I don't think we need to change our curriculum. That's the freaking problem. We keep changing the curriculum and we still ain't getting it right.
And again, I'm going to disagree. Our curriculum is old and antiquated. And at this point where we're going to have to change the curriculum for our
A
young
computer
people.
can't teach my
I'd
child.
never said, see, first of all,
AI can't do
I
it.
never said equipment. Notice, I've been talking about the curriculum itself. I never said new equipment, let's give everybody a cell phone and iPad. My point here is, I think you all, or maybe you're missing what I'm saying. I said start in 6th grade. I didn't say start in 1st grade.
No.
I said when we change this curriculum and we're talking about life skills, I've seen the programs. I've seen how it's changed young people's lives. I've seen the special schools that you took. Listen, they've taken, and I've seen these young people, and I'm not going to say their names. They go from a school and then they go to this other school, now doing the things that I'm talking about. Their lives are changed. Their family's trajectory has changed. They now know where they want to go,
In what
and they
way?
get those accesses. In what way?
What way are their lives changed? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, wait a minute, because
Okay.
I wanted to read some comments
Okay.
up, because somebody gave you a big kudo. It says no more cookie cutter models. Every child learns differently. And I think
Exactly.
That's what
And I agree
Diversity
with
is-
that.
Diversity is too huge.
That-
and
that-
veterinarian, that's a science. And it is a science.
It is. And I just wanted to make this point that curriculum control equals indoctrination. So when I made that statement, I didn't make it loosely. What we teach our students and our youth is what we value. And the reason why the curriculum is outdated is because when we look at what it teaches and what it professes, we're no longer in that type of generation. If you look at when the last time the curriculum has had a clear, control alt delete, refresh, and really implored what was necessary for the generations, because it's really important to study the different generations. The needs are vastly different. In 10 years, we're producing different types of youth and understandings. And when we're talking about, and maybe I will give you the floor to explain, because maybe we are assuming of something, so maybe you can clear it up.
So-
When you're talking, I know, but when you're talking about curriculum changing, what exactly are you changing? Are you changing the foundational the foundation of the curriculum, such as math, science, and education? So are you just implementing other things? And if so, then do you really believe that the curriculum is outdated, or do you just feel like we're just going to add a little more so that we can shift them in a different space? So I would like clarity to see, when you're talking about improving the curriculum, in what ways?
Okay. And thank you for that question. Because it's heated up in here, everybody.
Education is huge in here.
And it should be. It should be, because it's the foundation. No, I never said throw out the baby with the bathwater. What I said was, it is time to prepare our young people and adults for the jobs of today and tomorrow. Is where I started. With that being said, no, I don't want to throw out math. We do need math. I don't want to throw out reading. I don't want to throw out history. I don't want to throw.
But they've already done that.
Right.
Well,
And you say preparing for the jobs. What are those jobs? Because we've done that. You know, how many children are we preparing to do HVAC? Computer can't do that. We don't have enough.
That's trade.
How-
That's the whole point I've been saying.
But you say
Trade
prepare
is
them for the jobs of the
up to-
future.
No, I said today and tomorrow.
But again, some of these jobs we're not training for.
That's what
and
my point
IT
is.
can't help me.
Yeah.
When I call the electrician, I ain't
AI.
never had
I think-
AI can't help. I have yet to see my electrician come in with a computer.
I think,
Okay, let's
think all y'all heard was IT, and I started out, and
No,
I
I
do
heard
this
AI.
purposely. I'm sorry. You heard AI.
That's what I heard.
And I always purposely say trade and IT certifications. I run a company. We do HVAC. We do electrical outlets and stuff. We do plumbing. My point here is all trade, engines, makeup, hair. These are trades. These are certifications.
Lawyers ain't a trade. It's
No,
a profession.
Lawyer.
So where
is-
we fit in.
Well,
Teaching ain't a
so
trade.
so watch this. Now watch the world. Watch the world that I'm creating.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Now watch this.
I'm in my space. And Malika Starr, I'm
Let-
going
let-
to relay
let's-
some of these other
Because
points
I
to
think
you.
everybody is.
God now.
I think everybody is missing me. Let's say
Yeah.
I'm in grade school,
Okay.
and by the time I get to 6th grade, I say, you know what? I want to be a studio engineer. I study that. I go and I get my studio license. I can come in and I can work. I can put stuff together. Throughout my high school now, I'm making good money doing that. Now, let's say in high school I decide I want to be a lawyer. Now I have more than just that diploma when I get out to become a lawyer. I have certifications behind me and experience.
So you can
and,
hustle up some
and
more.
right, and the businesses, so that now I have something behind me. Now I did do what I just said. Okay, I did do what I just said, but I did not have certifications behind me. I didn't have the experience. What do our young people get the biggest door shuts on us for? Experience.
Lack of
lot.
connections.
Well, yes, but
Lack of connections.
well,
is
experience is the connections. And my point is, the more companies begin to do apprenticeships with our young people and then do internships and then start hiring our young people, the more access that they get, the more eyeballs are on them. Remember, I said I'm bringing business to education. Just like the NCAA, I mean, the NBA looks at the NCAA, NCAA looking at high school. That's what I'm doing. That's the world that I want to create. And I think you all y'all heard AI and IT, and we ran off on as if I'm saying everybody is going into that sector. That's not what I'm preaching here.
Mr. Cruz,
Okay.
I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna go to my friend over here on the Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't want to overlook our audience. I got a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science. I have a Juris Doctorate degree. I also have an MBA. I have an AA. I got a whole lot of degrees.
Yes.
But be careful. I'm just going to tell you, be careful. Go ahead and I want you
Okay,
to think
no, I
about
was
what I
saying-
just told you. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a point. What we are not doing in education is critical thinking. We're not
Exactly.
teaching kids
That's
how to
what you
think.
got to teach.
We are teaching kids to regurgitate facts.
I agree.
And how can that, your program,
I
fix
started
that?
out by saying life skills and financial literacy being a part of the curriculum.
Critical thinking is not a life skill, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's why I say words have meanings.
Yeah.
So be careful about the words you choose.
Well,
No,
the
I think critical think-
programs that I am talking about have critical thinking in them. Like the reason why a lot of homeschool kids, and I'm being careful with the words I'm using.
it's
It's just
okay.
that maybe the way you all have used these words and the way I have been brought up with these words are different.
Yeah.
With that being said, the reason why I see a lot of young people who come out of homeschooling and they're bright, they go to school and they're able to skip grades is because of the life skill programs that I have seen that they're taught at home. Everything is a lesson. The critical thinking is in everything. Financial literacy that they're being taught in those curriculums. And so when they get to grade school, their critical
In what
thinking is
curric-
off the chart.
You lost me. Yeah. In what curriculums at home?
I'm
lost
talking
me a
about
little
homeschooling, homeschool kids.
bit. I was home.
Uh,
I homeschool.
A lot of parents. So my point here is a lot of parents. I'm sorry, you had a question. I mean, she's itching.
Because
Okay.
I don't want to forget. Well, when it comes to homeschool students, and like studies have shown, homeschool students are progressing at rapid rates because of the lack of indoctrination, and they're being taught by people who care about them and love them. And those are two things that students in the public education system don't get. And then my other point that I had to say was I wanted to throw a monkey wrench in your utopian world. So essentially, when it comes down to it, because we have to be honest about where this generation is. And I say this often, we have 12-year-olds who are millionaires, and they didn't become millionaires because they were, in school and something was an epiphany. I will not take away from the power of the internet, and I will not take away from the power of technology. What happens, and what is your I guess your action plan when these students realize, well, what they're teaching me in school I can learn at home, and I don't have to get up and go to school and be in situations for 8 hours. And because what it sounds like is we're getting ready to add a recipe for students to no longer need school or want to be in school or have schools, because all the stuff that you're talking about totally takes away from the gift and the blessing of teachers.
No.
No, because we don't get taught technology in grad school.
Again, I never said that our schools were going to become technology schools. And anybody listening to me, I think you've heard me continue to go back and say, I'm talking about trade to IT certifications. Now that gobbles up way more than what trade used to be. Today, let's go all read up on where trade is now. It's much bigger than what it used to be. That said, I believe in everyone deciding where they want to go.
Okay, when you say trade is much bigger, could you break that down to this kindergartner here? Because trades to me say plumbing, electrician, hair, makeup, that kind of stuff. What's bigger? Hey, just help me understand.
A lot of trades now today are where you can go get certifications that are outside of IT. Okay, so like we said, hair, makeup, technicians, in just about anything that you can think of, there's certifications out there for them. I said that this economy is headed towards a professional economy where you get your certifications. And certifications is just not a paper, everybody. It is practicum. Along with, for me to get my A+ certification meant that I had to understand satellites, I had to understand computers, I had to understand printers backwards and forwards. I had to actually break up a computer, put it back together again. I had to know what I was doing. When you're going to get a lot of these other certifications and new certifications, and trust me, there's going to be a whole slew of new certifications coming out just about in anything there's going to be certifications. Why? Because people want specialized people now. I know my company wants specialized people. Now, most companies want that. With that being said, I'm not trying to create a utopia world. I'm trying to give young people, I've been to the hard hit areas, and these young people have said to me and are saying, you are correct. That's what I want. I wish I had that, but my younger brother or sister can get that now. We are waiting until, I'm not speaking something new. We do certifications in high school. I'm saying we're waiting way too late to do it. All I'm saying is we're going to bring it down into junior high, and we're going to get that started sooner. But not just that, we're going to bring big business. We all just talked about, and I've been in other interviews where they say, well, our young people don't have access to the different companies. Well, I just gave you an idea of how we're going to start doing that, how small businesses will now connect with education, the elementary.
Okay. And if I can just interject here, you said we do certifications today. There are only certain schools.
Yes. No, and you're correct. Yes.
So
And that's why I want to
how you
make it
gonna
a
fix
standard. I started out saying a standard.
that? Okay.
We should
So
listen.
that's what you're fixing the curriculum. That's what you're talking about.
Most of the parents I talk to say, why do I have to cross borders, go into other counties, move to get my kids into good schools? Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to go here to get them into a specialized school?
Specialized school.
Specialized school.
Yeah, 'cause
Why
good school
can't
is
this be
relative.
standard across the board?
A school is only going to be as good as the community around it.
I
Exactly.
agree with that wholeheartedly. But what I'm talking about, we have to build. We have to get it there.
Right.
I didn't say tomorrow this is going to be all set up.
I'll say this for you. You started off saying this is a complex issue. That I agree. But you're trying to oversimplify it. Not every child wants to go to college.
I
that's
agree.
And that's okay. Some children are going to want a liberal arts education and path to follow. That's okay. Some children are going to want a technical education and career and path to follow. And that's okay. Some children want to be in the trades. They want to work with their hands. And that's okay. That's a talent and that's a skill that not everybody has. When you start talking about educating children, you have to give a broad and a vast opportunity for a child to be exposed to every opportunity that exists. And then as that child grows and matures and develops, he or she will determine where they feel they are the best fit. And I will tell you, it ain't going to happen in 6th grade. Sometimes it takes a child becoming 18 and getting a high school diploma before they figure it out. There's some children who don't figure it out until they're 25. And yes, I call them
That's
children.
when your brain
Exactly, matures. That's just the natural development of the
no,
human
school- yeah.
condition. Unfortunately, there's some of us who don't get it until we're 30. And to say, if I give you
50.
certificates in school and you decide you want to be a lawyer, you shift gears. It's not that
That's
easy. And so we have to be careful. We got to be careful when we start messing with the primary and secondary education and curriculum for a child from birth to age 21, because there's so much. The world is huge,
Yeah.
and there's so much out there that they need to know exists. And I honestly think we think too narrowly when it comes to educating our children.
And correct me
Now-
if I'm wrong, Michaela. Don't you have your learning foundation for life by the
0 to
time you
7?
get to
Yes.
age
0 to
7?
7.
You get the basics.
And then two, I think where we are when it comes. Well, I think I'll ask this question: when you're talking about, because I hear you, you've said it multiple times, but I'm not sure that you're hearing what you're saying. You're talking about trade, and then you're talking about technology as if it's monolithic. I see two different ends, and then I see it a competition, because then when we're going to talk about the value of those jobs, right? Then will we get a half of the country on this spectrum, or 3/4 on this spectrum? And so then when you provide this type of space, and you take, or you essentially ameliorate the debt of going into college, which I am very aware of how impactful that is. And if you set this tone that students can go down this trajectory, whether it's a passion project or not, that they fall in love with the money that comes from this, then we'll have an imbalance of what's necessary. Then what happens to our authors, our producers, our intellectuals? What happens to the ones who do need to go to college to become professors and teachers? And so I think what my question is now is, with this type of theology that you have, what would be your points, or who would you I guess try and get to galvanize this curriculum? Are you looking at just technology people? Are you going to get educators? I'm serious. Like, who are the people?
I started out by saying that I've been speaking to Board of Education folks.
Is that
I
the
said
state,
that.
or I heard you say that.
In our state.
Yeah, I heard you say it too.
And I have been speaking with teachers. I've been in schools. My company is in schools. I think that we're off on a tangent thinking that I'm pushing people off to one realm, and I'm not. I never said that. But I do want to come back to technology, and I don't want to say this because it'll sound like I'm always pushing technology again. But I've gone into schools and I've asked young people to name one sector of our economy that does not use technology in it. Mm-hmm. And none of them can answer that.
What? Okay.
You know what? Mm-hmm. Let's answer it.
Oh, it's by choice and design. So it's not. There's no
I-
expectation that it's not a piece of our government that's not impacted. That's why I know that the agenda that you're pushing today and what it's going to essentially do. I get where we are.
No, hold on. Before we get into agendas and all of that,
Oh, I can name some.
well, please name.
It's the-
Baking.
Baking, there's technology in it.
Yeah, but I do that. I hustle. I get my little side money.
I
don't use technology.
What
I use my 101 stuff that I learned in math, my fractions.
My nephew came to me, and a cousin, a second cousin came to me. And he says, I want to go into construction. And there's specialized schools I can go into for that. What else do you think should supplement? And I gave him some ideas. And his mom said, wait a minute, you're saying he should get a certification in this and that? And I said, yeah, when it comes to construction. And she says, well, why? I said, because construction has changed. Most people, when you're about to build something, they want to see a 3D rendering of it. They want to, and you want a quicker and a faster way to find out how many studs you're going to need. Now, in construction, whatever that says, if it says you need 100, to add another 60. But it's quicker, it's faster for him to get that and to understand that and to know that there's technology even in construction. And my point here is it is embedded not because let's not because there's an agenda, but because us IT folk believe that we can do things quicker and faster, right? And so, right now. I'm not saying education becomes quicker and faster. What I'm saying is that's why we created the cell phone.
That's not why we created the cell phone.
I'm not trying to get into all of that. What I'm saying is when you put in, I want to go to Nebraska, what comes up? Directions to Nebraska. We no longer pick up maps and
My
navigate
sister
our
does.
way to now.
She does.
I am not saying throw out books where young people can't read and hold a book. That's not what I'm here to say.
Right.
What I am here to say is to speak for them. And I am speaking for young people. I've been visiting, I was a youth leader, a young adult leader, and a lot of young people are saying to me, yes, I'm behind you. I spoke at a hip hop event. Okay, how many politicians are going to those? But I'm going to them. And I'm keeping it real here. I'm going everywhere, and I'm speaking to young people, and I'm listening to them. I'm not out here just spouting what I want to see. When somebody says, I want to create a utopia, I want to create what I'm hearing. I want to be there because that's what a politician should be. We should be representing the people and not ourselves. I'm not here for myself. I didn't raise my hand to say, Marcellus wants to go out here and create this. I'm out here, I've listened, we've talked, we've dialogued, and I'm now bringing back, this is what I have seen and heard.
From the next generation of kids.
Na- And I respect the next generation of kids. And I respect everyone that I listen to. I even respect everything you all are saying. And I will watch my words, but at the same time, my words and my context come from my
Right, your
upbringing
experience.
and my experience. And I want to say, the funny thing is, and I'm keeping it real, we actually agree more on what I'm talking about than we realize.
Well, I have a comment here that says, because she's been here listening from the top of the show, she says, you seem like you would be better placed in the state Senate than the U.S. Senate. What say you to that?
I mean, listen, I'm running for
This
the
is a
U.
consistent-
Right, no, right, and I'm saying the state Senate. I believe that where I'm placed is the United
No, she says
States.
state government. I'm
State-
sorry,
Of the state government.
state government.
No. Well, what I'm talking about is for the nation. I'm not talking about just for Maryland.
Yeah, I got
And this is just one pillar of my platform. I haven't even got into incarcerated folks.
Oh, I like
I've
that
been-
topic.
Right. I haven't even gotten into
gun control.
I like that
I'm going to
topic.
ask you that.
Right. So what my point here is we're on curriculum but even that is a nationwide discussion because whether you're Republican, you're Democrat, or you're independent, this is a nationwide discussion. A lot of communities are hurting, and a lot of communities want more. And the bottom line is, I'm not here for those who have. I'm here for those who do not have, and I'm their voice.
Okay.
For the
Okay.
people.
All right. Let's move from education because I know
Yeah, we'll
that's
move.
that's Tanya's
And I
heartbeat.
Yeah, it is my heartbeat. But I guess my other question now is going to be, because government is what I do.
Okay.
It's what I've done.
Yes. Yeah.
And I am a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
the
my-
second
And you've
one,
been
okay.
in the military.
So,
Yeah.
so my question, Mr. Cruz, is why do you think the U.S. Senate is the place where you need to implement or influence this happening? Because the way I understand the way the United States is set up, what you're talking about, I would have to agree with our audience, is done at the state level. That's
Yeah.
not a discussion that's really had at the federal level. The federal government, yes, says we all should have equal access to education, and they put tax dollars to it. But when it comes down to who decides how that education is implemented, that's done at the state level. That's
And-
not at the federal
Yes,
level.
but a
and further,
US
and further,
Okay.
before you make your comment, people believe that education is a constitutional right,
I
and
agree.
it is not. Because you
Yeah,
corrected me
we-
a
yep.
long time ago and said it was a federal law in place. But in doing the reading and the research,
It's not in the Constitution.
it's not a
It's
constitution.
in Title 20
and
of
and
U.S. Code.
and it's reviewed. They can pull that from us any time. You know, depends on who's in the House, depends on who's in the Senate. They
Well,
can pull that right.
and you will be electing someone who sees education is a right. Okay. That being said, no, I'm doing this at the federal level.
Okay, so you make
And
the law of the land.
why? Because I will have a bigger microphone, and I have a backbone. I'm not going to sit down for anybody.
Right,
I'm going to be the voice, and I'm going to travel to other states.
right, right.
And I have already traveled to other states. That's the deep part about what I'm talking about.
But now you got to get 99, or shall I say this way, at least 69 or 59 other senators to agree with you.
There you go.
But you gotta start somewhere, I
But
get
you
that.
got to start,
I-
and folks, I'm not running because this is easy. I'm running because this is hard, and because we need somebody to stand up and not just do the very minimum. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what I see. hey, I'm open to ideas. I'm open to tweaks, but I'm not going to sit back anymore in my home and shout at the TV. I'm not going to just hear us all talk about it. I'm going to stand up and go do something. And so my point here is why I'm running for the United States of America House, right? To be a voice is because of the ideas that don't just touch Maryland.
Right,
This
because of the
touches
whole land.
the whole nation. Everybody is talking about this. A lot of communities, especially bad hit communities, are talking about what I'm talking about. How do we make this better? Why are we cutting? Why are we cutting all these different programs out? I want it to be wide. I want it to be big. I'm bringing my ideas. You bring your ideas. And let's get down to business. That's where I'm at.
But the Rehnquist court took a lot of that power away from the feds and gave it to the states. So
Gave it to the
that's what
states. And so now we have a lot of work to do, and I'm ready to go do the work.
So you want to unify the power of our government at the federal level instead of
Board of Educations who make a lot of these decisions, okay? And at the federal level, I have a lot more power and a lot more visibility, and yes, a lot more influence.
No, that wasn't my question though. My question was, so you're saying you want to unify the power and the authority at the federal level and not allow the states to have any discretion or say
No.
so.
That's
in
not
how-
what I
10th
said.
Amendment.
But
That's not
that's
what I
my question though. That's my question.
I just said I'm ready to go do the work with the Board of Educations in different counties across America. I'm ready to go do
But
that work.
they're not all going to agree or be unified. You've got
I'm not
you-
asking them to
but,
unify.
But this is the thing. Stop. If you're going to have one curriculum for everybody, no one county is going to necessarily agree with another one. You've got counties in Florida that want to talk about CRT,
Okay.
and they want to ban books. They want to get rid of Black history.
Yes.
There are counties in states down south that say slavery was good for us. They don't agree that slavery was a bad thing.
Yes.
There are
That's
counties.
pretty much in Florida.
Well, no, not just in Florida.
Florida,
Not just in
Mississippi.
Florida.
Yeah.
There are states in these United States that will tell you the Civil Rights War had nothing to do with slavery, but it was about the advancement of technology. So
Nikki Haley.
how do we reconcile all these different thoughts in not just 50 states, but a lot of territories that are not officially states?
Okay, we're going to have him come back to talk about education because we have some more questions.
Are we talking about mass
That's a-
incarceration?
Huh?
Yeah, let's get into
Yeah,
mass
yes,
incarceration. Let's get into it.
and-
That
I have a
varies by
question.
varies by
That's you.
state too.
Okay, and
I'll let you start.
Oh, you want me to
Well,
start?
you know, I want to know what I need to ask you, Allie. You,
Oh,
it's the
Elliot.
assist.
All right,
Do your thing.
All right, so with what I just said about education, it moves over to mass incarceration.
Okay.
A lot of our juveniles and a lot of our adults are being incarcerated. And what happens is they go in, they serve their time, and then they're released. And some are held until the very last day, and then they're released.
No parole.
And when they're released, they're then told to go get a job. Okay, you got to start giving back to society. A lot of them now don't really know what society is even, they don't even know where to start. Okay,
Right.
I have family members involved in this. That said, what I want to do is I want to bring certifications to our correctional
Prison system.
So
facilities.
you want to put rehabilitation back into.
I want to put
penal
rehabilitation back into our
was it ever
correctional-
there?
Right.
system.
Right,
There
well-
was at one time.
in pieces, right?
Technically.
In pieces.
Some simply.
But I want to do it in our I want to do it even in our
She wanted to make a law of the land that
Yeah.
this has to be.
right. And even the I'm sorry, my mind just went blank because I went down the road using in our for profit facilities. I want so when I think about how do we get out of this, I also think about the injustices, right? But I think about people want to make money. I mean, you don't build a prison to not make money. That's what they want to do, right? So I also think about what the incentives would be for them to, if I get locked up, I'm a good inmate, I'll go get my certifications. Let's say I want to, I don't know, work on airplanes. And I go get my certifications and I start, doing that. And they can job place me. How do we give incentives for prisons and incarceration, facilities to allow me to get out sooner, quicker, and do help with job placement? And so that's the type of program that I'm looking at setting up, where we incentivize to these facilities to allow these people to get back into the fight in our society. But I do want to mandate that people have to get certified in something. Yes.
Okay.
Got you. I thought.
The guns out.
I thought we was going in a whole different direction.
Yeah,
I think. Right.
Because the 14th Amendment says that if you break the law, you a slave.
Right.
Well, and
Yo,
this is the other problem.
That's
with
what
that.
it says.
You also start with the premise that all prisons are for-profit institutions,
I-
and that's not the case in
I
every
didn't-
state.
I didn't say that, guys. I said I also want to incentivize for profit.
But again, you start with the premise that prison is for profit. Not every state has for-profit private industry handling their confinement system. There's still some
I believe
states that
that-
run their own jails.
I truly
And-
believe
and
that
I agree
every
with that.
jail and prison is for profit, some kind of way.
Well-
Agreed.
Well, before we could get to
Agreed.
When you got a
Agreed.
government running its own confinement system, they're
True.
not making any profit.
Right.
No tax dollars paying for that.
Yeah, but
No,
but here's-
they're
there's
making the profit from the products that are being created.
That's
there-
what
So I'm
there's
following
profit.
you. But before
okay.
before I was looking further back. So before we get to the rehabilitation of,
Okay.
right. As a senator, right, because our interest would be your interest, what would you do as someone that has an influence on the policies that have been created that mass incarcerates our black and brown bodies?
Yes.
Before we can get to what we're doing about it, how are we going to stop the mass incarceration? Because when we're talking about it in the conjunction with school, by third grade, our students are determined if they're going to go to college or
Or
into these
prison.
trades or into the prison system. And we cannot, as a nation, ignore the way in which mass incarceration has truly rampaged our entire economy, not from just the level of black and brown communities, but in its entirety. Once you go into that system, it's very hard for you to get out. And so therefore, the only way that I even see that the people who are freely out of incarceration can even be in these different programs is if the identity is for them to go and work for themselves, because we have to be honest, companies are not hiring people who have any record. You can't even go to college and get certain, funding if you have a record. So is it realistic for us to be able to say, well, I have this system that I think once they get out, as long as they get certified, there'll be places for them?
Yes. So, where do you want me to begin?
Pick a number. Pick a number.
That was.
It wasn't a lot. I
Let,
told you, passion.
I love it. Listen, I love talking with you guys. Let's start with before they get incarcerated.
Right.
As a young black man, I believe that we have to first stimulate them in school. A lot of them are dropping out. Okay. And that's where I stand. And that's why I said I'm speaking for them. They want to be stimulated and they want to see where they can go in life. Now, whether we all agree on that, it doesn't matter to me because I'm fighting for them. And so my whole point is to get school back to what the point is. All right. Now I know that opened
get
up
school
that
back.
old door and
Yeah,
just
that-
that right. I mean, for them. Okay, let me focus on them.
But I
okay?
think before we can really get to the point of school and the criminal justice system, we have to talk about the policies that are in place. And if you're going to be,
Policies,
because
okay.
you're not just someone that's running for a local level,
Right,
you're
right.
going to be a person that we would have to choose to say no, y'all, because what is it? Bill Clinton got up there and said, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have did that. Please
But it's
forgive me.
done.
Vote for my wife, right?
Right.
And so what I'm saying is, as someone that would be that if we decide that you would be the best candidate for us, what are your views on the policies that have been
Okay.
created and implemented
Okay.
that don't even give our black and brown boys and girls chances to get to the level of 6th grade to even be able to choose if I want to be a part of a trade or technology?
I'm against those policies.
He said he's against those policies.
Okay, if you want me to say it again, Marcellus Cruz, who's running for the U.S. Senate, is against a lot of those policies that lock up our young people and give them records.
Be careful
Okay.
now. You need to know which policies. I
Well,
wouldn't throw them in a general
well,
category.
well,
that's
That's
tricky.
you.
That's tricky.
That's the mic.
I
Well,
wouldn't throw them
well,
in a general category.
well,
that
well,
gets you tricky.
No,
That's tricky.
well, I can say this like this because I know what I'm saying, and I think people understand what I'm saying. Now, some people do need to be locked up, okay? But a lot of our young people who are getting in trouble, I'm against policies that give them records that don't allow them to truly rehabilitate.
No.
Okay, so that's what I'm against. And so my point here is a lot of young people get caught up, and a lot of young people don't have the chances that I want to create. And Lord knows, you put me in office, I will create it.
I look at excuse me for I just need to interject this while it's on my head. I look at the policies that locked up a whole bunch of young folks for marijuana.
Exactly.
And then I look at Boehner, who walked away from the United States House of Representatives and owns his own dispensary, and people are still languishing in jails across this country for 2 or 3 joints. Those are the policies.
And that's what I'm talking
And
about.
and some of those are because of state laws that have not changed, not federal law.
Yeah.
South Carolina still says the use of marijuana is 100% illegal. You can't even get a prescription card.
Yeah, but
For-
here's
And that's my challenge to Mr. Cruz. We got 50 states and umpteen territories that have laws that are not consistent.
I
Yeah.
So
agree.
now to
But-
pronounce these policies from the U.S. government doesn't mean it's going to change overnight, nor does it mean that just because we pronounce it, it's going to change.
no, but again, and maybe I need to go to school a little bit on this. The Fed set the benchmark. So are you telling me that that if the Congress agrees and Biden signs into law that marijuana under whatever, maybe an ounce or less, is not against the law, are you saying that states don't have to pay attention to that? Is that what I'm understanding?
Look at what's going on with abortion right now. We said Roe v. Wade.
Yeah,
is-
but that's not no longer law of the land.
It's
Right.
not the law of the land,
Right.
but the law is everywhere. Some states say abortion is still okay, and you can come here and get your abortion
That's the
up
10th
to
Amendment.
6 weeks.
That's your
and-
10th Amendment, though. That's your
But
10th
again,
Amendment.
it's
that
the
kicked in.
but it's the same thing with a whole lot of things in this country. Once the federal government takes its hands off of it, the right belongs to the 50 states.
yeah,
and you
correct.
gonna get 50
And I agree
different
with that.
answers.
But what
I-
I'm
Once the-
asking you,
and then,
Tanya,
and what I want to explain to you
Okay.
is once the federal government steps in and says we're going to regulate that after it's been litigated umpteen up times, and the U.S. Supreme Court says yes, the federal government can litigate this with some limits and restrictions because of how our government is set up. There's still states' rights in the United States of America.
I
So
know
it's not
that.
carte blanche. It's
Yeah.
not the
But
federal government can
you're
never.
not hearing my question.
I'm hearing you. The federal government can never set a ceiling. It's a floor. Basically,
exactly.
these are your
That's the
basic.
benchmark.
These are your basic rights. I wouldn't even call it a benchmark because when you get into the law and depending upon how the law is interpreted, it's not even a benchmark because the courts will cut out exceptions. It's fact specific. So it gets real tricky. So we have to be careful. And that's why I say I don't speak in generalities. Because what is legal here ain't legal over there.
And
the federal government has said
You're not letting me
marijuana
talk.
is still a controlled substance. It's still a controlled substance under federal law.
Right.
What the federal government has said, what the executive branch has said is, we're not going to penalize possession anymore.
Correct.
You go out here distributing it, or your ass still going to jail under
Okay.
federal law.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back to the law of the land, which was Roe v. Wade, because I think that may help me understand what you're saying, because I'm not clear. Okay, Roe v. Wade was a federal law. That was the benchmark. The Supreme Court threw it out. That's not a law anymore. So it's then and only then that states can,
Start regulating.
And they're
start
all over
regulating.
the place. Yep.
yeah. So there is no benchmark, no law of the land.
No, there's no benchmark for abortion. No
No,
law
no,
of
no,
the
no,
land.
no. That was my
Now she's
example.
Right,
talking
that's
about
the
I'm going
example.
back to marijuana.
Okay,
Yes.
you go back to
Yeah,
marijuana.
yeah,
The benchmark is marijuana is a controlled substance.
Yeah, they
Period.
still haven't.
That's federal law. It's illegal. Can't use it.
Correct.
You can't even get a marijuana card under federal law.
Under federal.
Under federal law, you cannot.
Yeah.
It's still illegal.
They're just turning their
The
heads.
executive branch
blind
says
eye.
we're not going to penalize you for possession anymore. Because a lot of people went to jail just for having a joint in their pocket.
Yeah, I know.
We're not going to do that anymore. That was harsh. The federal government has still not said marijuana is good as a prescription drug. Even though they're researching it at NIH, doctors have said it's good for pain relief. The federal law does not say marijuana is a drug that you can get at the CVS.
Okay, so what you gonna do about that? As a member of the United States Senate.
Again, I don't believe that any. I've said this many times in different interviews and even in conservative spaces. I do not believe that someone should be locked up over marijuana. That's just where I stand. There's always been a disparity. Cocaine, marijuana, right? And so my point here is a lot of black and brown have lost their lives to incarceration over marijuana, and I'm against that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm doing a generalization. I want to be clear to people where I stand. I do not stand behind them being incarcerated
I
over
ain't mad at you for
marijuana.
that. Okay, what about cocaine and crack? It's the same thing.
Cocaine and crack.
It
yeah.
is. It is.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
the
same
same thing.
It just
But
matter how you cook
when
it.
You stop it. Stop
yeah,
it.
yeah, but we don't know the recipe.
Now we're getting into cooking.
Okay,
That's
no,
what
but-
makes it illegal. It makes you get,
Yeah, but what I'm saying
Is
is
it
that
pot or
it's
is it a
the
rock?
same thing. It's the same thing, but white Americans, and I'm talking about maybe in the 80s and 90s, got a slap on the wrist, whereas the brother who went, because he had a rock or two on him, got time. Okay,
Whole
how do
life
we-
gone.
Yeah, a whole lot going. We've lost so many of those folks, and I'm guessing that when you go to the United States Senate to make a law of the land, is that something that you're going to include in your?
I'm about being fair. I mean, I'm about being fair, and I'm not about mass incarceration. Okay, that's where I stand. Period. I'm all about education. We started with a rigorous conversation about education. I'm about giving people a chance. Now, obviously, there are people, and I'll say this for those who know where I stand on this. There are people who need to be locked up.
Dylan Ruth, yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and go, oh, we're going to just, No, there are people who need to be locked up.
Yeah.
Right. But just mass incarcerations happening because you had marijuana on you, I'm against. Because you had crack on you, I'm against. Okay. I don't believe you should lock up somebody who was using. That's my other thing.
Yeah.
That should be you should be in a hospital getting rehabbed,
Right.
but not locked up. Okay, that's just where.
I can agree with that. We shouldn't criminalize addiction.
Yeah.
We should never criminalize addiction.
We should have
Yeah.
never,
Never had.
ever.
I can say that. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, my other question from a listener has to deal with gun control.
Uh-oh.
what say you about because the Biden administration, well, most, how far can I, the Obama administration, because that's when, it started really paying attention to it. Why is it that our government, no, because you ain't there yet. What's your proposal to eradicate that? Because people say guns don't kill people kill people, but access to a weapon has 99% to do with people killing people. How can we get some sensible gun regulation?
Well, let me start by saying this is a very complex issue, not because of the way I see it, but because of the way the laws are. As the sister said just here a moment ago, gun control is regulated a lot from the states. The federal government, we put in place and said, hey, and I say we because we the people, that a person who's 18 should not be able to go get a handgun.
21 either, as far as I'm concerned, but continue.
But
The semi-automatic ban need to be put back in
Yeah.
place. That was federal.
Yeah.
We let that expire. It need to come back.
Yeah,
they say 21.
that's where I was going.
But some states are, have laws for, you can at 18 get this, or at 21 get this, or, you don't have to have a background check. And this is governed, you can go look at this for yourself. Georgia has its own laws. Texas has its own laws.
Yeah.
Maryland has its own laws. And so when it comes to the shooting, let me just go to the bigger, larger thing. And I've said this with you, and I've said this with a lot of people. If you really want gun control, you're going to have to come out and vote.
What?
It's just that simple. Yeah. You're going to have to vote people in that are going to change the laws.
And when
What
they get in, they're
happens-
gonna switch up and make it worse.
No. Hear what I'm saying.
I hear you.
Yeah. Because this is the way our country is governed.
But we voted a lot of the same people into office when we got the semi-automatic ban.
That's but my point.
It sunlighted.
That's my point.
It terminated.
That's my point.
And then-
You-
And we're fighting like hell to get it back. And
Right.
them same faces are still in office.
Same faces.
So
right. There you go. You answered my.
So
you answered my
it's not
question.
it's not just about voting.
No, it
Yeah.
is.
No, it's not just about voting.
Yes,
We
it
need
is.
to get special interest money out of politics.
That's what we
Again,
need to do.
I'm going to say this for everyone who hears me. It
Y'all
is-
listening?
Listen to what I'm saying. In the state of Maryland, 2.5 to 3.2 million voted in the last election.
Wait a minute, hold tight, because I think I got
Three,
them
I think
stats.
it's
I got these
3.2 or
stats
something.
right
So
here.
yeah, you can say what the real number is, but we're closer to 7 million people.
In the last election,
Yes. What's the numbers?
the registered voting total was 3,954,027.
But
Of that
of
amount,
that amount.
1,675,744
It's
did
even
not
worse.
freaking vote.
Okay, so it's even worse, and that's just the registered. Okay, what's my point? My point is the way this country and guys, just understand where I'm coming from. The way this country is set up is who you get in office to represent you and your interests
And hold them accountable.
And hold them accountable. Not just say I voted for you and then walk away. No, when I'm voted in, I want you to hold me accountable. We should be spending time together through the whole process. It's not just up to Marcellus Cruz to make it happen. It's for us, the citizens, with me to make it happen. My point here is, if you want a Congress, because Democrats don't come out during midterms. I mean, I'm keeping it real. Y'all want gun control, but you don't come out during midterms, and then Republicans get in, and they're gonna toe the line.
And this is why we have this show, because people, and that's why I started off with the Democratic National Committee, does not care enough to me about the country to come, and they're a national organization, so I know they got some money to come and because they always have this 3 times, 4 times, 5 times match. Spend some of that money to go into these states and take these people to school and let them know how government runs. That is our problem. You want the office. It's a quick road to riches, if you will. But you know, it used to be when we had lay people in government. And I'm going back before all y'all's time. In the 50s and 60s, and 60s especially, we had lay people in government. We did a whole lot more. We didn't have people who had the law degree or the whatever the degree is that you got. Whatever, 57.
Whichever one.
But that both of y'all. But we had people who really dealt with the kitchen table issues, and we got stuff done.
Got stuff
Because it
done.
was for the people.
Yeah.
Because it was for the people. And that's the only reason why I bring up voting. Because a lot of times, especially in this election and other elections, we vote in people, oh, you know, I know this person or I know that person. You don't check to see what they're going to do. And when they get in the office, they go, I never said I was going to vote for gun control. I never said I was going to do this or that. I didn't give you a vision. My point here is that's what the NRA does. They vote in people and they give them money that's going to support special interests, that's going to support their view. If
The
we
top
want
1%.
to change that, you're going to have to seek, find, and help pushing people into office that will counter that.
Yeah, but you have to let them know because
Yes.
they have taken government and civics out of school.
I agree.
By and large.
I agree.
You got to have an entity, DNC, I hope you are listening, that lets people know this is how government works.
What won't
Too
you,
many people don't know.
what won't you trade away
What won't
in the U.S. Senate?
That very good
What
question.
won't you trade away?
Yeah, I like that
you,
question.
You're going to have to unpack that a little bit for me. So
Oh,
that
you want to
I-
go into the Senate? I would hope you understand how this works. In
Oh,
order
yeah,
to-
you're talking
in
about
order to pass a
deal
law in-
making. Okay,
Yes.
deal
What
making.
won't you trade away?
On the
That's a
record.
very good question. Depends on what bill I'm working on. I mean, if you give me an example of a bill.
You got to know where your boundaries are.
I know where my
What are your
boundaries are,
deal
but-
breakers?
Yeah.
What won't you
yeah.
trade away? If we elect you to the Senate, what can I know with 100% certainty you're not going to change your vote on because you need a vote on something else?
Okay, let's start here.
I can answer that.
Look,
I was
I can answer
answer
too.
that.
That's why I tell people I'm not a legislator.
Yeah.
What won't you trade away? You got to know what your deal breakers are. You got to know where your line is drawn in the sand, and you got to be willing to accept that some of your bills just will never get off the ground because you have integrity.
And you said you had a backbone. We trying to see how strong.
Okay, boy.
You came into the hot seat, brother. Let's go.
And there's a lot of constituents listening to
Uh-oh,
going to my
boy.
timeline.
Mine too.
All right. It's hard for me to answer this question. I know what my backbone and what I won't trade away, but it just depends on the topic. Let's go into incarceration, okay? Mass incarceration. I'm not going to trade away young people with marijuana, caught with marijuana. That's a line I just can't.
That's an easy one. That's
That's
gone,
okay.
brother.
Well,
Come on with
well,
something
give me some.
new.
Give me the
No,
hard
I
ones.
need you because
Okay.
you want the job.
Okay.
And I would like to believe you have taken long, deep thought on the issues. So you should have an idea. You trying to sell me. You trying to get my vote.
You want my job.
I'm not going to make it easy for you to get my vote. You got to earn it, just like
Oh,
the
buddy.
rest of them have to earn it.
All right, okay. Let's just go issue by issue, I guess. A woman's right to choose. I will never, trade
That
for
one's gone
anything.
too, brother, for the meantime. Let it go.
You're right. I agree with that. Education. I mean, we talked about that. I am hell bent on young people and giving them a better start, a better chance.
Well, I need you to talk to our current county executive because she's trying to take the education budget as we speak.
And I'm against that.
Well, I need you to have a conversation with her.
Well, okay, all right. And well, I'm doing.
Yeah, have that conversation and then come back in studio. How
Well,
about that?
actually, we're about to have a forum. All of the candidates were invited for a debate on the 2nd
The 2nd of March?
in Montgomery County.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All
My
right,
car
so-
goes to Montgomery
all right.
County.
Yeah, sure
I will
does.
be, I will be in the audience.
All right.
And I be having questions.
Okay, well,
Okay.
well, when I see y'all show up, I'll be like, uh-oh, it's about to get good up in here. But I love it, though. I'm trying to, listen, I've thought long and hard. I'm a man of faith, and I believe that it is time that somebody had a backbone. I am not, okay, let's talk about foreign policy, I guess.
Most, I mean, we don't even know what to go. If with all due respect, sir, let's don't go there because we don't even know what we're supposed to be doing here, and that's where I have the
Okay, all right.
with the GNC.
Okay.
You tell them, Angela. Before we can go there, we got to get our backyard together.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'm just saying, guys, everything that I'm running on, I'm not willing to trade that in.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not willing to trade that in at all. What I'm standing on, I'm not going to go against once I'm in. I will be a call away. I'm going to stay with the constituent that got me in, and I'm going to hold town halls across the state, and in counties that are forgotten. I'm visiting counties that have been forgotten. My point here is it's time for true representation. When we pass something in the Senate and in Congress and the president signs it, I believe that a senator comes back and makes sure it doesn't die in the counties, because a lot of times that's what happens. A senator doesn't answer to the governor, answers to the people.
Right.
Okay? And I think that it's time for true representation. If you're having issues, I think I should show up. That-
Or
I
I'll
think
be
you
at your door.
well,
Yeah.
well, I know that.
But see, again, a lot of these people that I've talked to over the years, they think that you guys or elected officials, as a rule, are untouchable.
No.
Yeah, but if the DNC or whomever besides us let them know, you can find that telephone number and that email address at XYZ site, at whatever site. People don't know that 101 stuff. So this is my challenge. What will you do to help those folks since the school system ain't doing it? I know once you get in there, you're gonna be working your juju, you know, to get the school system up. But in the meantime, we need to know this stuff.
I agree.
Yes.
I totally agree. Education, education, education. I've been explaining what AI is. Okay. I've been going around explaining to people what AI is.
Artificial intelligence does not beat natural thinking.
I agree with that. I mean, you will always need a human.
Unless you're slow.
You know, so I guess I'm here to say that I put myself up, and I said it earlier. I was sitting on the couch, yelling at the TV,
Like we all do.
and finally my wife said, are you going to just yell, or are you
Or you
going
gonna
to
do
stand
something?"
up and do something? And she says, you have a skill set that I believe we need right now. And so I stood up and I said, I'm going to do something.
Yes.
And I'm open. That's the beautiful thing is I'm open and I'm willing to show up. I said I went to a hip hop event. I'm going to go to another one coming up on the 24th.
I mean, but hip hop events are lit. I would go too.
Well, no. Yes, but a lot of, she says the untouchables don't go. They don't show up. They don't listen to them. They're listening to special interests.
Well, and this is the other thing I want to say to you. I hope you can get the hip hop generation to show up at the polls.
Yes, indeed.
Well, that's the goal.
Because you can be
That's the
cool all
goal.
day long in the rave.
And they ain't gonna vote for
They
you.
ain't gonna vote for you.
Yeah, and no trust and believe. Again, I'm glad that you brought that in because we're in the disco version yet again. But Maryland is a closed primary state,
That's
people.
right. That's right.
So you register Democrat or Republican. We need to get some quality people in office at all
Absolutely.
levels. Ergo, put the camera back on Tanya Sweat again. I'm gonna get my little PG plug in.
Baby,
Okay.
baby, put the camera on.
You probably said the camera was never
That's
on.
right.
Yeah, because
It never moved.
yeah.
Never moved it.
But
I'm
again,
here.
we have got to work to get some quality people in office. We've got to understand what an open primary state and a closed primary state is. This is something, again, that I fault the national committees.
I agree.
And, even the state organizations, even the state organizations.
For sure.
We want to keep people dumb, and that is not serving us. No way, no how. So wake up and pay attention. Know that you live in an open primary state or closed primary state. Maryland is a closed primary state. So all of you independents who voted for Tanya Sweat last election,
I thank you.
your stuff got thrown in the trash can, and they counted the Democratic and the Republican votes. Let's get smarter about that. We got to put some quality people in office at all levels. I want to thank you, Mr. Cruz, because we're running overtime.
Can I just tell everyone where to go?
Yeah.
Marcellus Cruz, MarcellusCrews.com. You can see my speeches. You can even give $5, $10, $15. But most of all, you can see my values. I have a values page, and it's video, so you don't even have to read. You can see what my view on agriculture, all the way down to education. So please, and if you hear them coming to your county or to an event, please come out. I want to meet you.
Meet me at the crossroads.
And if I
What?
can, Miss Angela, just one more public service announcement.
Okay.
This about money.
Okay.
The Maryland chapter of the Federal Bar Association, and yes, I'm a member, is hosting a short essay contest for high school students.
Good stuff.
The topic is discuss measures that youth can undertake to advance equity and civil rights at a grassroots level. Submissions are due by March 27th at 11:59 p.m. And first prize is $1,000, second prize $500, third prize $250, and this is cash money. Lawyers giving it away. If you want more information, go to my Instagram or my Facebook page. Check it out, and the website and everything's there. I'd love to see some of our young high schoolers.
You know,
right on that.
you
topic.
know, I'm gonna get that to Malik, right?
Only high schoolers. Only high schoolers.
Only high schoolers.
We
You's
need
too
money,
old.
too.
You's too old.
We really need the money.
Okay, so with that, we're going to bring our show to a close. We are going to work to get other other folks who want various positions in government. We want to give them this platform to talk directly to the voters. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to my favorite millennial, him and now.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, Mr. Cruz, for coming to stop by and sitting with us today. Before we close today, know that there is a lot of value in our broadcast. Please go to youtube.com at Angela Taylor 4119 and hit the live tab. Like and subscribe. Make it a point to take time to review the broadcast. We dropped a lot of nuggets today. Share with your friends. No one's going to save us but us. So with that being said, we need you to count your blessings instead of your crosses. Count your gains instead of your losses. Count your joys instead of your woes. Count your friends instead of your foes. Count your smiles instead of your tears. Count your courage instead of your fears. Count your full years instead of your lean. Count your kind deeds instead of your mean. Count your health instead of your wealth. And by all means, count on God instead of yourself. This is Eminem.
And
Tanya Sweat.
And this is your host, Angela Taylor, a.k.a. 821. Attitude is absolutely everything, and we need to develop an attitude of action. At We the People, we do believe that there is good in the world, and we challenge you to go out there and be that good. This is 821. I'm out.